Hi, I'm Alli, Lidie, and I'm in the third cohort of the White Riley-Peterson Policy Fellows, representing the state of New York. When I began the White Riley-Peterson Policy Fellowship Program, I wanted to work on a project that would make a difference for practitioners in New York. As the Policy and Communications Coordinator for the New York State After School Network, I knew that the network already had a plan in place to advocate for $178.5 million in new funding in the state budget. I wanted my project to support this effort, but I also wanted it to make a difference for any new programs that would be created with any new funding that we were successful in getting in the budget. When I was thinking about what would make a good project fitting that criteria, the school-age childcare regulations immediately came to mind. I've been working with practitioners to compile issues caused by the school-age childcare regulations since I started working with NYSAN. And despite several letters and meetings with the Office of Children and Family Services, we hadn't been successful at getting the regulations to fully support high-quality programs in all cases instead of, in some cases, unfortunately, hindering quality. I wanted to work towards a statutory change that would alleviate at least some of the issues that these regulations have caused in the state, and I also wanted to potentially make a change that could set precedent for other states that are dealing with similar issues. The week that I spent at Furman University with my cohort and faculty was incredibly helpful in giving me the time and resources to strategize a plan that would make the most sense and have the most chance of being successful. More than that, the week actually gave me the confidence to consider myself an expert in after-school issues. Before my time at Furman, I felt nervous taking meetings with policymakers because I was afraid that I didn't know the answers to all of their questions or that I couldn't make a good enough case for the cause. I am so grateful to have had the chance to work with the faculty and my cohort to fine-tune my skills and give me the confidence that I am an expert in these issues, which I really need to be successful in my work. That week at Furman also gave me the opportunity to build relationships with peers that have continued to support my work and will be an incredibly valuable network moving forward for me. Another thing about the week at Furman was that in my everyday work, like many, I don't often have the time to commit a full week to working and strategizing on a particular issue. This exercise was invaluable for me, and it's something that I've drawn on a lot for this work and other work that I've done since.
I think the fellowship has allowed an opportunity for an issue that has been a barrier and a challenge to after-school programs and community-based organizations for a number of years. It's provided the opportunity for us to flesh out really what the issues are and what the solution is in order to make this change. Where the importance of identifying what changes need to happen within a school building for community-based organizations to comply with the school-age childcare regulations is important because a lot of the evidence and a lot of the information that we have heard thus far before the fellowship focused on this was anecdotal. And so what we've been able to do is really identify where the needs are and where the changes need to happen through legislation or through other corrective opportunities that will enable community-based organizations to continue to partner with schools, which is such a great partnership that we want to continue, but also to be able to continue to serve as many kids as possible.
Coming out of the week at Furman, I had many ideas of ways that statutory changes could make a positive impact for programs in regards to the SAC regulations. I requested data on the number of middle school programs that were registered, the number of school-based programs that were registered, data from different areas across the state, and I learned that there wasn't much data available on the program, but I continued to pursue options and build relationships with my contacts at the Office of Children and Family Services. After speaking with the NYSAN Policy Committee and some work groups of interested organizations, I found that the most important and potentially impactful statutory change would be to allow school buildings to only be overseen by the school board, superintendent, and principal that oversee them during the school day, rather than also answering to OCFS for the after-school program. This would keep programs registered for all the best practices in the regulations, but wouldn't inhibit programs from serving youth due to conflicting requirements for posters on the walls or the number of restrooms that they have or anything else related to the physical plant requirements in the building.
I think it is really important that the network focus on the school-age child care regulations reform based on the fact that through the last probably 7 years, we've been hearing a lot about some of the barriers and challenges of community-based programs operating in school buildings. These challenges have really made it difficult for programs to really focus in on providing the quality opportunities that our children need. For instance, our site coordinators are often spending valuable time putting up and pulling down posters in their school buildings. They're putting in requisitions for peeling paint, all of which they have no control over the timeline for when those things are going to be fixed, or even if they are going to be fixed. So addressing these regulation changes will help allow for our site coordinators and our staff to really focus in on what is of value to our students and children that participate in our programs.
After coming to the conclusion that I needed to focus on an exemption for school buildings, OCFS released new regulations that unfortunately didn't make many of the improvements that we requested in our numerous letters and meetings with them. New York State politics also had a number of shifts, which are still continuing today. And I was concerned that our main legislative champion was going to move out of the chair position for the committee that oversees the work of OCFS. But fortunately, for this work at least, she remained in her position and is still working with us. Fortunately, in all of the changes and shifting priorities in the state, the network was unsuccessful in getting the governor to back the $178.5 million ask for after-school programs in the state budget. However, our assembly champions were very upset that we didn't receive funding in the budget and managed to secure a $1.5 million increase to an existing after-school funding stream in their budget. And this is actually the first increase to after-school funding in New York since the recession, which is really exciting because it creates precedent and hope for an even larger investment next year. To move the SAC regulations work forward, I convened another group of interested practitioners and requested campaign contributions towards the cause. With the money raised, we've been able to hire a highly respected lobby firm to represent the issue. I've also gained support from Kathy and Ron with their unending advice in how to move the work forward, including the idea to create a strategic one-pager on the issue. And this is what the one-pager looks like. Additionally, my cohort of fellows and past fellows has provided information from their own state regulations that I've used. And I've also been able to work closely with a few other states that have been struggling with similar issues around their own state licensing or regulations of programs. Behind the scenes, I've been working with the office of our sponsor to go over legislation that I drafted and make updates as requested. I'm hoping she will sign off on the final language shortly, hopefully this week, so that I, with the help of my network lead and our lobbyists, can go about the work of securing a sponsor in the Senate to help move this bill forward. Our legislative session goes through the end of June, and we hope to make significant progress this year. I know that it takes an average of 7 years in New York to pass a bill. However, we have the support of a great lobby firm, many large organizations with their own lobbyists, and one of the state's large unions at least. So I think that due to the support from this fellowship program, I and my network have a strong possibility of moving forward the legislation this year. If not, I have plans in place to continue work on this and hopefully pass the legislation next year. The White Riley-Peterson Policy Fellowship has been such a wonderful learning experience for me, and I feel especially lucky to have participated in a year when there has been so much of a need for advocacy around the 21st Century Program in particular. I think that through my work in this fellowship, I've had a different perspective than I could have had before, and I was so pleased to lead my group during our After School for All Challenge on the Hill.
I'm incredibly grateful to the Mott Foundation and the White Riley-Peterson Fellowship Program for engaging Alli this year in this learning experience and on this project. It's been a great opportunity for her to really dig into a major policy issue and get to structure a research project and then an action-oriented legislative project coming out of that from beginning to end. And she's done tremendous work pulling together different resources from the field, speaking about the issue and really gathering their stories, understanding what the challenges are, researching and reading the statute and regulations, summarizing the comments, really getting to understand and participate in the whole sort of comment process, and then now in the in the legislation development process, which will hopefully lead to a new statute. And again, really getting a chance to think about the public policy implications, what is ideal and what people would like versus what actually makes sense and could be implemented, what's politically feasible, and really balancing the different sort of competing interests and powers that be on this issue. So it's been a really tremendous opportunity for her to have that time and space and to engage with her classmates and get resources from other statewide networks as well. So we're very excited about the project. We're very excited about the work going forward. I think it has a lot of potential to contribute to New York State and to the network. It's brought a lot of interest in from other organizations that benefit from what we do, but maybe hadn't been as active with us.
I have recently been promoted to the Deputy Director position for the New York State After School Network, and I contribute a lot of my ability to take on this role to the skills that I learned and the relationships that I built during my fellowship. I want to say thank you to the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation for the support of this fellowship program that has provided this opportunity for me and so many other fellows. I really look forward to continuing to work with the faculty and my cohort moving forward, and also to continuing work on this policy project that I think will make a huge difference for providers in the state. Thank you.